Sam's not here. Let's go heavy into soccer. Let's do it. Woo! Okay, so let's talk. Let's start across the pond in Wrexham. They get a win 2-0 at Northampton this
Yeah,
past Saturday.
yeah. So they get the win 2-0. Sam Smith scored his first goal for Wrexham
Nice.
as the League One promotion hopeful strolled over to a 2-0 victory over Northampton on Saturday. Smith, who did not score a single goal for his previous appearances with Reading, his former club here, he then gets signed by Wrexham for a reported Wrexham record of 1.26 million, or just shy over £1 million. He opened the scoring in the 19th minute after racing from a long ball thrown by none other than Mark Howard. Northampton is pretty much in 18th place, so really it was really a problem for Wrexham for the rest of the afternoon. And Phil Parkinson and team, they cut the gap to second place by a point. So
Yeah.
that win actually gives Wrexham their second win in a row after going 3 games without a victory in January. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So I just pulled up the table actually for EFL League One, and Birmingham is obviously in first right now, and Wycombe is in second. And those are your two automatic qualifiers. Wrexham, Stockport, Huddersfield, and Leyton Orient. They're your three through six. Wrexham's only 2 points out of away from Wycombe. Birmingham's a little bit further out. They have a very nice 69 points, and so they're 11 points clear of Wrexham. That's going to be a little bit harder to make up, but if you can catch Wycombe, that would be beneficial. Then you don't have to even play in the stupid playoff to get to go for the treble back to back to back promos.
yeah, and Leighton is their next opponent
That's right.
tomorrow. So,
You can put a little distance between people behind you as well.
yep,
And let's see, Mansfield Town, they're a little bit further down the standings. They are in 15th.
yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah,
you,
it's
you, you
it
get the
should be two.
Leighton win, it gives you
Yeah,
confidence going into Sunday that you'll get that win against Mansfield Town. So,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like we got like what, maybe I think April is when things start really getting tight and buttoned up here. So we're
Yeah,
getting
so
close here.
so yeah, they've played 30 games out of a 44,
Mhm.
46 game schedule, 46 game schedule. So there's still plenty of time to make it up to make up some ground on Wycombe, but it is getting closer and closer. Like we're three-quarters of the way through the season now at this point almost. So
Yep.
16 games left, no, two-thirds of the way through the season. Yeah, so they're right there though, and it's a chance to really make some noise. So let's now switch gears to the U.S. Women's National Team. We have the She Believes Cup beginning this week. If you are familiar with the women's game pod that Sam Ewis hosts, she kind of refers to this tournament as it's a serious tournament with a lulz name. The name is kind of silly, but like the tournament is like it actually is pretty important. It's it's top level teams competing in a group stage setting for like World Cup or Olympics. Like it is like the same format of a group stage like that, but you just don't play a playoff tournament after.
Right.
For the upcoming games, you have Japan on Thursday in Houston. You have Australia on Sunday in Glendale, Arizona. And then next Wednesday, the 26th, they're playing Colombia in San Diego. So, as for the roster itself, Bay FC did have a player named to like their practice squad, I guess, so to speak. And that was Hannah Bibar. She's a new signee. Hannah Babar, whatever. Anyway, but Alyssa Melanson was left off of this She Believes roster. I think there's like 7 or 8 players getting their like uncapped players. So uh, uh, Emma is continuing to cycle through players, like getting more
Right.
players, more experience to see who's able to play where and who's able to handle the rigors of national team schedules. So just because Melanson didn't make this roster doesn't mean that she's done. As a women's national team player, I think that she's still going to get plenty of opportunities going forward. It's just it wasn't her time this time. There were some players left off of the roster besides her, though. Specifically, Triple Espresso, all three of them either fighting injuries or have personal stuff that they're attending to. I think Soph Smith is specifically has like personal stuff. She hasn't reported to her club team yet either. I don't believe so. Um, but yeah, so there's your roster basically. Obviously, she who must not be named is right there. That first name in the midfielders. Anyway, I'm excited for Tara McKeown getting a call up. Jen and I Swanger is obviously young all world talent who just went over to England to start playing in Arsenal, I believe.
Arsenal, yep.
Yeah, but specifically the big name that I do want to circle is Emily Sonnet. This tournament is a yearly tournament, SheBelieves, and Emily Sonnet has been on every single US roster for this tournament. So stick taps for her.
Wow.
This is the 10th time in a row she makes the SheBelieves Cup roster. There was a little bit of joking around that maybe Alyssa Nair comes out of international retirement to match her, but no, not happening. So yeah, that's just things to look out for. We got U.S. women's footy happening, so that's exciting. So that player that Bay FC has playing with the taxi squad for the U.S. women's national team. She's a 3-time All-American, twice at Harvard and once this past season at Duke. She's a defensive midfielder, and Bay signed her to a 3-year contract, I believe, last week. So she was invited to the camp in January after Lynn Williams picked up an injury. And she's basically been on every level of the youth national team. And she played at the Under-17 World Cup in 2018 in Uruguay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a significant player coming. Hannah Bibar. I will learn how to say your name properly once I hear somebody else say it. It's not Babar like the elephant because it's a Bevar, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. But the other thing you can see on YouTube is a thank you, Caitlin, and that's because our starting goalkeeper, Caitlin Rowland, announced her retirement. She's her career adulations are she's a 4-time champion of the NWSL. She was a second 11 honoree in 2017 with the NC Courage. And that was like she was mostly a backup goaltender for most of her career, but she was the starter for a couple of years in Carolina, and obviously she took over starting duties here. I thought she came into this team as the third string goalkeeper, excuse me, thinking hockey still. And she was able. Melissa Lauder got injured in preseason and never set foot on the field in the inaugural year. And then Lysiane Prue was okay, but she didn't perform well. And Caitlin Rowland played better than her. There were times when it was a little bit rougher, especially earlier in like when she took over, but especially once Abby Dahlkemper came to the team and took over, that central defense. Caitlin's play got a lot better too. And speaking of which, she actually played college with Abby Dahlkemper and Caprice Didasco as well. Ooh. She was a teammate of all three of them. That was a UCLA connection there. And she's also from Walnut Creek, so she called it an honor to play her final season at home. And best of luck in the future. Thank you for helping us get to the playoffs in our first year. So, big ups. And the goaltenders that we have on the roster now are like on paper better than her anyway. So I think she saw the writing on the wall. But she gets to kind of leave with a good feeling about, like playing pretty well in her final season and got to play with a couple of her college friends. And yeah, so I honestly like a lot of fans were really harsh on her. I wasn't because, I don't like to go all hot takey if I don't have to. And I mean, come on, she came in as the third stringer and she played pretty well overall. There were obviously some sketchy moments. I'm not saying that, but to be fair, from what I expected out of a third string goalie, she did just fine.
Right.
Like she gave us more than what you could hope to ask for from a third stringer. So take the win, and hopefully we get a lot better play out of these players that we have, especially Melissa Louder. Um, is going to be able to actually play this year. She had an ACL in preseason.